Hi, how are you?
Great. It's wonderful to get to speak to you both. You guys have created some of the most amazing shows, and my family are huge fans.
Oh,
So thank you for that.
thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So today we're talking Star Trek Prodigy. First off, congratulations on the Outstanding Animated Emmy nomination. Very excited to see, because that's in a couple of days, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, we're excited.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about, what was it about that series that that made you guys want to be a part of this project?
Well, gosh, I mean, when Alex Kurtzman, we had a meeting with him and his company, and they were talking about like just the universe of Star Trek is so big and so intimidating,
Right.
right? Like, where do you start? And they're like, what if there was a show, an animated show that would help get kids in? And we're like, well, we love that. We love entertaining kids, but we also write for ourselves. And so when we do something, like it's more of a challenge in our minds to be able to write something that's going to resonate for not just kids, but the kid inside every adult as well, right? And so I'm really happy and proud that we had the support by everyone, and we just went for the stars with this thing. We wanted the highest quality that we could do on our budget and time. It's TV schedule, so it's crazy town, but we get our people and our crew and our writing staff, and I'm just so proud, and I'm so thrilled that people are responding well to our show.
Yeah, we absolutely love it. So how does this project compare to others that you guys have worked on?
This is like our first space project. I remember very early on, like Kevin and I have always been like, well, what every writer has something they've done in space. And so
We love
there's
space.
no better than Star Trek.
Right.
And so it was a lot of wish fulfillment. I mean, my brother and I have been writing for a long time, and we've had a lot of ideas that are, space related. So it's fun to put all these ideas into Star Trek Prodigy.
It was
But I
very
also think,
scary, right? Like it was very scary to like Star Trek itself. Like Dan and I were like, oh boy, when we first came up with the show, we were like, we're not the right writers to write an episode of TNG. Okay. Like, for us, it's always about grand adventure and big cinematic and like really powerful emotional story development and stuff. And so, then when we started to think about, well, how would we do Star Trek? Because we love it, but then
the wish fulfillment,
yeah,
getting a
us,
starship.
it's wish fulfillment. Like someone was asking us what are some of the Easter eggs or influences, and I'm like, the greatest influence is the Goonies. Like for us, that's what this is. It's the Goonies in space. It's about a bunch of kids saving the world, because the adults can't do it, and it's up to them, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that totally just kind of blew my mind, because you're absolutely right. I didn't see it before, but yes, absolutely. So one of the things that I was really, or one of the voices that I was super excited to hear was Kate Mulgrew. How important was it to bring Catherine Janeway to your series?
It was massively important. I remember in the very first place when we came up with the idea of like kids steal a starship, we're like, well, they can't, they're not going to know how to fly a starship. Who's going to guide them along the way?
Right.
And I think for a second, we're like, would it be Picard? And we're like, no, I don't think it'd be Picard. And we're like, I think it's
Picard with a bunch of kids. Could you imagine?
That would have been something.
It would have been something.
He would be irritated the whole time. And so Janeway felt like that. I love that kind of like tough mother, like the tough love, like she's this great matriarch who can really tell it to them straight when they've messed up. And I think I looked forward to those speeches, because we felt like these kids are going to mess up a lot.
Right. As kids, that's, yeah, absolutely. That what can definitely be expected. Wow. So what is it that you would like for audiences to take away from the series?
Well, speaking to like kids, I hope, just as, the earlier Star Trek shows and Gene Roddenberry's vision, they've inspired the next generation of scientists and astronauts and artists. And like, I really hope that our show gets kids thinking and gets them excited about the beauty of space and what's out there and science and how it's cool and fun.
Also the strength of collaboration. I feel like Star Wars is the story of one, and Star Trek is the story of many. How do we come together to improve where we are?
We can only be great together.
Yeah, the strength of diversity. I think that's such an important lesson.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true. And it's so important, you know, in the time that we're in. So obviously you guys are brothers. Is there obviously a little bit of sibling rivalry when it comes to working on these projects, and how do you work collaboratively?
I don't
It's
think
been
there's
a process.
Yeah.
It was hard at first, I think,
I think we've learned, I mean, I guess, yeah, working together, we'll have a lot of conflicts, but we've always, I think, you know, one of the big themes in season one is communication. And I think that that's something that we're pulling from ourselves, because every time we have a problem, it oftentimes comes down to a breakdown of communication, and we have to talk about it. And then we get on the same page. And then there's a strength in when we're like, when, you know, if I succeed, he succeeds, and vice versa. So it's, you know, some of those things of like, that's a lot of it. People who don't know each other thrown together on a starship, how do they succeed? And it comes down to figuring out each other.
You know, and in the last 10 years, I would say we've been writing for about 20 years, but the last 10 years, you know, writing is so subjective also, right? There's a lot of times there's not a right answer. And so there are creative disagreements and stuff. And I think our best solve that we have is when we start disagreeing, and he clearly likes black and I clearly like white. We just say, let's put a pin in it for right now, because we're clearly not going to answer this. You know, like we're both passionate and we're just totally on opposite sides of the fence. And we just, because when you write a story, there's a lot of other things to figure out. So like, let's just put that one disagreement and let's find all the stuff we can agree on. And then the next day we return to it and we go, oh, after thinking about it, and we solve it together.
Awesome. I love that. And I feel like, you know, speaking with both of you and seeing, you know, your creations, you are able to do that pretty seamlessly, because I mean, it's beautiful content that you guys create. And I mean, it's just a whole level of magic, honestly.
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess one last question. Is there anything that you both couldn't decide, that really wanted something in the series and you couldn't just come to an agreement on?
Oh, just creatively between him and I?
In Star Trek Prodigy?
Yes, in Star Trek Prodigy.
Oh, that's an interesting question about it. I'm like, I have to like really think about that. Like, Dan,
something that never made it in?
Yes.
well, was there something that like you wanted?
Our show is so jam-packed. There's like, we throw it like it's all about how do we fit it all in. It's like
I can't say who, but there was a legacy character that we wanted to involve, and we couldn't get. You know, Dan and I were in sync. It wasn't a disagreement. Usually, like our creatively,
we're usually in tune.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah,
we're in
that's
tune.
really cool. That's wonderful.
You know, and there's just a lot, like our show is so ambitious for our budget is pretty reasonable. Our time and money is not a lot when you look at like movies and stuff, and we're trying to really push the envelope. So there is a lot of creative givings that we have to let go of, or director Ben, like, you know, we just always want the best for it. And like, oh, if we only had the time or the money to like make that even more glorious or beautiful, or, you know, or time, like 22 minutes. Oh, I wish we had just a few more minutes. I wish we had, 1 hour, and then we could like even sit on the drama and make it even greater.
1 hour is too much. We've had 30.
Well, I say like maybe someday like a feature film or something where you could spend that extra time deliver. Oh.
Well, you just put it into the universe, so
feature Star Trek Prodigy.
Yes, because it's like I said, it's absolute magic. And you know, when you said, you know, it's comparing it to the Goonies, that really just, like I said, it blew my mind. And I see more of it, and it just makes me even more excited for season 2. So
thank you.
For us, the word that Goonies is, that I think Prodigy is, that shapes everything we do, whether it's Troll Hunters or Lego Movie or anything. It's wish fulfillment.
Yes,
it's wish fulfillment of a bunch of kids, right? And you as a viewer, or a child as a viewer, going, this is my wish fulfillment, to go off on a stolen spaceship with my friends.
Right. I want to do that now.
Yes, I'm ready. Let's go. The three of us. Let's do it.
Right. Let's do it.
Let's steal a car.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. Again, good luck on Sunday.
Thank you,
Thank
Candy.
you. Thank you, Candy. Appreciate it.